with a heavy, conflicted heart, I have to give this one to One Piece's Luffy. But before you set my channel on fire, allow me to explain.
Yeah, I was about to say, you gotta explain, cuz. Good Dark Knight gang in the thing, gang. Yeah, bro. Part 2, Dragon Ball versus One Piece. Listen, I already told you guys where I'm at. I saw the homie Zoro get demolished by the other dude with the sword. I forgot his name. But listen, he killed off Zoro. Well, he didn't kill Zoro, but he messed up Zoro with the quickness. And now he was like, when you level up, when you finally get strong, seek me out. I was like, oh, nigga, hey, One Piece is fire. Anyway, this is part 2, Dragon Ball versus One Piece. So far, like I told you guys, so far, I'm gonna have to say Dragon Ball, but that's only because I'm like on episode like 27 or something of One Piece. But yeah, I'm ready to hop on into this. We're gonna continue on. We're gonna continue to watch this video. Let's go.
The visuals. While the story makes up a massive portion of most shonen, many are often defined by the reception to their action set pieces and visuals. And now that I've become a reviewer of sorts, one of my biggest fears when picking up a new manga to critique is that its layouts and artwork will prove to be less helpful and more of an obstruction standing in the way of me understanding the story. Manga is a visual medium first and foremost, and if you don't make use of the visuals, you may as well have written a book, in my opinion. People read their manga for vastly different reasons. However, for me, I hold paneling, clarity, and art in extremely high regard. And I've mentioned this numerous times in almost all of my reviews. Dragon Ball is, for me, a gold standard in this department. If you haven't read Dragon Ball and only watched it, I highly recommend opening a random page from the series to observe how easy it is to get sucked into it. While Akira Toriyama wasn't as standout as One Piece on a narrative level, from a visual and layout standpoint, I'd consider Akira Toriyama a genius. The sense of suspense, energy, rhythm, and pacing he managed to inject into his work is something I miss most from modern manga. And while Eiichiro Oda's paneling, particularly towards the beginning, was great, as the series went on, the panels, instead of enhancing the story, became more and more of an obstacle for me that got in the way.
I'm not reading the manga, so I really don't care what you're talking about.
And let it be known that this isn't a bias for Dragon Ball shining through here either. While I heavily praise the original run of Dragon Ball for its layouts, I also heavily criticize Dragon Ball Super's manga, as well as recognize the deterioration in layouts towards the end of the series in the Buu Saga. However, even taking all of that into consideration, much the same way it wasn't a contest for One Piece in the story department, Dragon Ball easily takes a point in this round. I love One Piece, but Dragon Ball, even outside of this contest, is still one of the most superbly laid out mangas I've ever in my life read through.
If I just had to say, based on the show, based on the shows, the visual in the shows, once again, I'm only like episode 27 of One Piece. Dragon Ball Z definitely has better visuals. You know what I mean? When Goku first turned Super Saiyan against Frieza, oh, the visuals were fire. When Gohan went Super Saiyan 2 versus Cell, oh, cuz. Anyway, let's finish.
Main characters. One of the most surprising aspects for me while I was writing this video was how definitive I felt about almost every topic. When it came to sales, story, and visuals, all of these aspects I had come to a conclusion on prior. I just needed to formulate my thoughts more clearly on them. However, this one was by far the most difficult section to both articulate my feelings on and ultimately make a decision for. This is probably due to the nostalgic nature I hold Dragon Ball in and how impressive and likable I found One Piece to be last year. But I had to make a decision, and with a heavy, conflicted heart, I have to give this one to One Piece's Luffy. But before you set my channel on fire, allow me to explain.
Yeah, I was about to say, you gotta explain, cuz.
One Piece is directly inspired by Akira Toriyama's Dragon Ball. And because of this, both Luffy and Goku share a ton of traits in common with each other, both from the energy they exhibit in pursuing their goals to their tenacity and their love for their friends. They definitely have more in common than they have aspects that are distinct, if you ask me. However, in the small ways that they are different, I managed to formulate my decision. direction. Through interviews, Akira Toriyama has come out and saying that a fundamental piece of Goku's personality that people often don't recognize is the small but very present poison in his character. This is the aspect of Goku's personality that will lead him to pursue the story in a really fun and interesting ways. However, it will also oftentimes lead him to pursue dangerous circumstances in lieu of a much more safe and stable life for his family and friends. He will give a senzu bean to sell. He will stay dead for longer to get more training in. He will routinely leave and alienate himself from his family and friends in search of better fights. The ending to Dragon Ball's original run, while I thought it was fitting for the series, still felt strange to discover that Goku didn't keep in touch with almost anyone in his life. And for me, that aspect of his personality can be frustrating or disillusioning at times. Luffy, on the other hand, doesn't share this trait at all.
Yeah,
Instead,
Luffy seemed like
to keep his friends safe and to reach his goal too.
That's what I was about to say. Luffy seems like Naruto, kinda. You know what I mean? To where it's like, we a family, I got y'all. Like,
if you were to ask Luffy to choose between never seeing his friends again and becoming king of the pirates, he'd make the decision without even thinking. However, when it comes to Goku, if you asked him to choose between seeing his friends again and a fight with the strongest person in the universe, I really think he'd have to think about it for a second. As a character, Goku, I think, is phenomenal and offers a nuance that still escapes many of the modern writers today in Super and its manga. However, on numerous occasions, Luffy has demonstrated a straightforward purity that has moved me to tears more times than I care to count. And
if I cry,
reason,
I'll let you guys
as well
know.
As what I've said here, I have to give the point to Luffy and One Piece. The supporting characters. Unlike the last section, this one was actually quite easy. Dragon Ball has not only some terrific supporting characters, but also has some of my favorite characters in all of fiction. Piccolo, Bulma, Gohan, Vegeta, Tenshinhan, Mr. Satan, all of these are iconic in their own way and offer vastly different dynamics to the story at large. However, Dragon Ball is let down in one fundamental aspect, and that's that the supporting cast a lot of the time either becomes irrelevant or they become something that offers less utility within the ever-changing story. One Piece, on the other hand, has arcs of story dedicated to each of the Straw Hat Pirates as Luffy meets and befriends all of them. In addition to that, Eiichiro Oda goes to tremendous lengths to not only include these characters consistently, but also makes them essential.
Yo, speaking of characters, the one chick, what's her name? I can't think of her name right now. Why did she steal the boat? I was like, bro, I'm sure she's gonna come back, but she stole the boat. I'm like...
and fundamental aspects to
you know what I'm talking about?
Luffy ultimately achieves in them. Over 1,000 chapters later, and characters like Zoro, Nami, Usopp, and Sanji are all still just as crucial today as they were back then. Perhaps even more so. And that is something I can absolutely not say for the likes of Yamcha, Tenshinhan, and Piccolo, unfortunately. This one goes to One Piece. I think I like some of the side characters a little more in Dragon Ball, but overall, One Piece dominates this section. The villains. Where One Piece's conflicts
you gotta go Dragon Ball, cuz
spawn from how Luffy...
You gotta go Dragon Ball Z villains. Dragon Ball... Well... I don't know One Piece villains. I'll stop.
Deal with the circumstances brought on by their respective villains. Dragon Ball is practically defined by its villains.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Thread even informing the name of that given saga of the story. The Saiyan Saga, the Frieza Saga, the Cell Saga, etc. One Piece has some amazing antagonists and villains like Blackbeard and the World Government, but those are still very much unknown quantities at this moment, so for that reason I will omit them in this conversation. However, even if I were to include them in my decision, it's still the same. My favorite villains from the world of One Piece are the likes of Arlong, Enel, Crocodile, and Doflamingo. These are all great in their own respects, but when I compare them to the likes of Piccolo, Vegeta, Frieza, and Cell, a clearer picture starts to emerge. One Piece's villains a lot of the time are quite complex and offer a lot in the way of their narrative. However, if I go off which I would be more excited to see, Crocodile or Frieza, Enel or Vegeta, in my opinion, it's a no-brainer. Obviously, like everything else, it all boils down to personal preference, but in my opinion, the point has to go to Dragon Ball.
I'm not even mad at that because the villains on Dragon Ball are so fire.
When it comes to domestic Japanese cultural impact, without question, One Piece is king. In 2015,
One Piece has more impact than Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z?
And upon arriving, I was absolutely blown away by how much One Piece stuff there was everywhere. Other friends of mine have traveled to the middle of nowhere, rural Japan, and have found figurines of Luffy laying around. To say One Piece is everywhere in Japan is like saying there are a couple of trees in the Amazon. It's a massive understatement. However, when we leave the sheltered shores in the land of the rising sun and venture into the wider world, Dragon Ball squashes.
That's what I'm saying. The homies that I know never heard of One Piece, but everybody watched Dragon Ball Z. What the fuck is that?
To help put it into perspective, Dragon Ball is so impossibly ubiquitous globally that the only other Japanese properties to do better than it on a world stage are the likes of Hello Kitty, Mario, and Pokemon. There's a reason why Goku was chosen as the main ambassador for the 2020 Olympic Games over the likes of Naruto, Sailor Moon, Mario, and even Luffy himself. The broad and far-reaching appeal of the...
I smell like sex between two obese people. Ugh, just imagine that. That's how I smell right now. Like sex between two 500-pound people.
Dragon Ball franchise is something that can be felt the world over, whether it be referenced in popular internet videos, parades, American cartoons, rap lyrics, or even, as I said, the Olympic Games. Both from an optics and sales perspective, Dragon Ball gets the definitive win in the cultural impact section.
Yeah, I thought you was going to say... I thought you were going to say One Piece at first. I was about to say,
the One Piece story is how involved it can be, which is often the reason why many are afraid to jump into the adventure at first. While I was working on reviewing this series, one of the main complaints I heard was how daunting of an enterprise starting and jumping into One Piece can be. It's fantastically well structured and paced, however,
that's why it took me so long to start watching it
in some respects. But funnily enough, while Dragon Ball is also another long-running anime and manga, I never heard that same complaint touted for them. On the contrary, Dragon Ball's story is touted as being incredibly simple and easy to follow along with at any point in time, and I think that's one of the biggest secrets to its success. One can jump in anywhere in the story and have a great time, whereas in One Piece, a lot of the events are very much plot-driven, and satisfying moments depend heavily on factors that were established earlier in the story. Think Arlong Park.
That actually makes a lot of sense. That's extremely true about Dragon Ball Z. You could jump in during any season. Let's say you've never seen Dragon Ball Z and you just decided like, oh, I'm gonna watch the Cell Saga. You wouldn't be lost. You'll be like, okay, that's Goku. It's Gohan, his son. Okay, like, you see what I'm saying?
That scene with Luffy wouldn't hit nearly as hard if you didn't already know what happened in the story prior. However, in the case of Dragon Ball, the standoff with Vegeta is so simple to understand that hopping on becomes possible for both the young and old alike. My dad got caught up in it and he didn't even know what anime was. And it was during this time too when I first started watching the series. Like most people in the West, I jumped in halfway through the series and loved it all the same. Some of you out there might be saying that accessibility isn't important. However, I think it's hard to discredit it because, in reality, how accessible something is plays a large role into its ultimate success in connecting with people around the world. And when you compare Dragon Ball's wide appeal worldwide with One Piece's, it becomes obvious which one wins this section. Dragon Ball takes the point here. And with that, we have a tie. 4 points for Dragon Ball and 4 points for One Piece.
You gotta give one more.
This can't end in a tie, and so I needed a tiebreak. I decided to, instead of creating another topic for these guys to be compared in, earlier this week I decided to post 2 polls to see which one you all preferred. One on my Twitter and another on my YouTube channel, and between them over 100,000 votes were cast by fans across the globe. And the winner was...
One Piece!
One Piece wins this time, but I think that's going to be something that's ever changing between them.
Great video from Totally Not Mark. Thank you guys so much for requesting it. Yeah, man. Look like One Piece is better. A lot of people saying One Piece is better. So far, it's pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. I like it. I'm excited to continue to watch it. I'm gonna watch some episodes today. Like I said, I just came across this beastie-ass nigga with a sword. He chopped up the Zoro and was like, when you get stronger, come see me. I like your heart. I was like, oh, shit, fire. Anyway. I'm gonna see y'all next time. Shout out to the gang. Yeah, peace.